In a small, windswept seaside village lived a woman named Mara. She was a midwife, and her hands had welcomed countless babies into the world. But for all the life she helped begin, her own was shrouded in sorrow. Her husband had been taken by a fever years ago. Her only son, Daniel, had left for the city in search of work, and the letters eventually stopped coming. Though she mended the wounds of others, her own loneliness was a wound that never seemed to close. Still, every morning, without fail, Mara would walk through the village with a small basket of herbs. She would tend to the sick, sit with the grieving, and offer quiet prayers for a strength she herself barely felt. The village was a canvas of pain. Children coughed through the night. Fathers returned from stormy seas with empty nets and weary hands. Mothers wept over pots that were never full enough. Mara saw it all. She felt it all. And sometimes in the quiet of her empty home, she would whisper to God, "Lord, the harvest is so great. I am only one person, and I am so tired." But the next morning, she would rise and begin again. One afternoon, she found a frail old man lying on the dusty road. He had no family, no food, and no strength left to even ask for help. As she cleaned his sores and offered him a piece of bread she had saved, he looked at her with clouded eyes. "Why are you helping me?" he asked, his voice a dry whisper. Mara simply held his hand, her touch gentle but firm. "Because no one should have to suffer alone," she replied, the words coming from a place of deep, personal anguish she rarely showed. Then, one morning, a different kind of energy swept through the village. Rumors spread like wildfire Jesus was nearby. A current of desperate hope pulled the villagers from their homes. The sick were carried on makeshift stretchers. Mothers clutched their weak, listless children. Fishermen with hands raw from rope and salt limped toward the growing crowd. Even those who felt their own sins made them unworthy followed from a distance, drawn by a force they couldn't name. Mara, tired as always, her own heart heavy with grief for her lost son, found herself helping to carry an elderly woman who could no longer walk. As she moved through the press of bodies, she finally came close enough to see him, and when she stood before Jesus, her knees trembled not from fear, but from the overwhelming presence of a love so pure and powerful she had never imagined it could exist. Jesus looked at the crowd, and his eyes held a deep, profound compassion. It was the same compassion Mara had carried in her own heart for years. But seeing it on his face felt like seeing the source of a river she had only ever known as a small, lonely stream. Then, his gaze fell upon her. It was as if he saw past her weary smile, past her capable hands, and looked directly into every hidden wound, every silent tear she had ever shed. He spoke, and though his voice was for everyone, it felt like a whisper meant only for her. "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few." Mara lowered her head, and tears she didn't know she was holding finally fell, silent and hot, onto the dusty ground. She knew those words. She had lived those words every single day. But hearing them from him, from Jesus, was not a burden. It was a gentle embrace, a divine acknowledgement that said, "I see you. I know you're tired. You are not alone in this anymore." Then, Jesus called his disciples ordinary men, fishermen, a tax collector. He gave them authority. He told them to do the impossible, to heal the sick, to raise the dead, to cleanse the lepers, to cast out demons. He sent them not to the powerful or the righteous, but to the lost. And he gave them this one beautiful command: freely you have received. Freely give. Mara wept, but these were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of release. For the first time, she felt that her life of pouring herself out, drop by painful drop, had not been in vain. It was not a thankless, unnoticed chore. It was a reflection of God's own heart. That night, as Mara walked home, the exhaustion in her bones was met with a peace in her soul she hadn't felt in years. As she neared her small, weathered cottage, she saw a figure standing by the broken fence. Her heart stopped. It was a silhouette she knew better than her own. It was Daniel, her son. He was home. He ran to her, his face streaked with tears, and wrapped her in an embrace that felt like a lifetime of apologies. "I'm sorry, Ma," he sobbed into her shoulder. "I was so lost. But something in my heart told me I had to come home today." Mara closed her eyes, holding her son tightly, breathing in the impossible reality of his return. She didn't need to ask how or why. She knew. When Jesus heals, he doesn't just mend the body. He mends the broken parts of our lives we thought were shattered beyond repair. He calls home the lost sons, restores the lonely hearts. This gospel story is a powerful reminder for all of us. Jesus sees the suffering of the world, and he feels it with a deep personal compassion. He doesn't just watch from a distance. He enters into it. And he calls ordinary, tired, and sometimes broken people like us to be his hands and feet. He sends us to bring hope. Healing isn't only physical. It's emotional, it's spiritual, and it's relational. And like Mara, so many of us are silently carrying our own pain while we care for others. We feel like the workers are few and the harvest is overwhelming. We feel tired. We feel unseen. But Jesus' words echo through time, meant for you, just as they were for Mara. I see you. I know you're tired. I will not leave you alone in the harvest. You may feel weary, you may feel small, but you are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are seen. And you are deeply, completely loved. Thank you for listening. If this story touched you, please consider subscribing for more reflections.